Think about SQL. We just see code, right? A bunch of technical commands. But what if we looked at it a little differently? What if we saw it as a story? Today, we're going to follow the traumatic life cycle of a data table, from its birth to its ultimate destruction, all told through just a few powerful lines of code.
We live in this age where everything feels permanent, like it's stored somewhere on a server forever. But is it really? Can something be digitally born, live a full life, and then just cease to exist? That's the big question we're digging into today, and I think the answer might just surprise you.
Okay, so every story has a beginning. And for our data, that beginning is the blueprint, the database table. This is the fundamental structure, the skeleton that holds all of our information. It defines what it is and how it's all organized.
So let's meet our main character, the employee table. As you can see, it's simple, it's clean, organized with columns for ID, name, age, and gender. I want you to think of this as our original masterpiece. This is our digital clay, and we're about to shape it, mold it, and, yeah, maybe even break it.
Our table has been created, but its life is really just getting started. And you know, in the world of data, birth often looks a lot like replication. You don't always start from scratch. A lot of the time, you start with a perfect copy.
So, why would you clone something? Well, imagine you have this pristine, super important table. You want to test something, maybe run a risky analysis, but you absolutely cannot afford to mess up the original. So, what's the solution? You create a safe, disposable copy, a clone.
And you know what? It's ridiculously simple. With just one command, select star into emp1 from employee, boom, we've created a perfect twin. Every row, every column, it's an exact replica. emp1 is now a brand new, totally independent table, ready for all of our experiments.
But hey, you don't always need to copy the whole thing. What if you only want to work with a specific slice of the data? Well, you can be selective. Here, for example, we're creating a new table called emp male that only contains the rows where the gender is male. It's still a clone, but it's a clone with a very specific purpose in mind.
All right, so our tables are born. Now comes the really interesting part, their life. This is where the data gets modified, refined, and changed. This is where we start shaping that digital clay into something new. So the first tool we're going to pull out of our toolbox is the delete command. Think of this as our chisel. It lets us chip away at the data inside the table, removing specific records or rows that we just don't need anymore. Now, the crucial point here is we're only removing the contents, not the container itself. The precision you can have here is key. We can be incredibly targeted. The command delete from emp1, where ID equals 5, finds that one exact row and removes it. It's surgical. One moment it's there, the next, poof, it's gone.
Being precise is great, but sometimes you need a bigger hammer. What if you want to clear out everything inside the table? Not just one row, but all of them, while still keeping the structure, the columns, the blueprint intact so you can use it again later.
Well, the command is surprisingly simple. By just saying delete from emp1 without any conditions, we wipe all the data clean. As you can see, the table emp1 still exists. The column headers are there, but it's completely empty. It's a fresh start. Okay, so up to this point, we've only touched the data inside the table. But what if we need to change the blueprint itself? That's where the alter command comes in. And this isn't just chipping away at the clay, this is fundamentally reshaping the entire structure. So let's take our emp2 table. Right now, it's got 3 columns, ID, name, and age. This is its original design. But what if we decide this design is no longer useful? What if we want to simplify it drastically?
And boom, with the alter command, we've permanently removed the name and age columns. The blueprint has been changed. Any data that was in those columns is gone forever, and the table's very structure is now different. This is a much more permanent kind of change.
And that brings us to the final, most dramatic act in our story. We've created data, we've modified it, and now we're going to talk about its total and utter annihilation. This, my friends, is the point of no return. Okay, understanding the difference between delete and drop is absolutely crucial. Seriously, delete is like emptying a house. The furniture is gone, but the house is still standing. Drop is like demolishing the house. Not only is the furniture gone, but the foundation, the walls, the entire structure, it's all gone. In a live system, this is the difference between a minor cleanup and a catastrophic failure. So after all this creating, cloning, and altering, how do you perform the final act? How do you wipe the slate so clean that there's no evidence the table ever existed in the first place? It's deceptively simple. 3 little words. Drop table emp1. That's it. That's the command that unleashes irreversible destruction, erasing not just the data, but the very blueprint that defined it. And just like that, it's gone. Not emptied, not hidden, it has simply ceased to exist. There is no undo button. The story of emp1 is officially over.
So, as we've seen, these commands are way more than just code. They're tools of creation, of change, and of finality. Having this power at your fingertips is one thing, but understanding the consequences, knowing when to create, when to alter, and when to destroy, that is the real skill. So, the real question is,